It was market day on the island of Sodor. Many different trains full of fruits and vegetables were headed to the market. Sir Topham Hatt brought Thomas back to the big station to help Edward arrange some of the trains early one busy morning. Thomas's driver had taken ill, and a relief man had to take his place. Thomas was normally very good at shunting, but the relief man was new and excited to work with an engine. Thomas bumped the goods vans and they went rolling down the line. "Careful, Thomas," called Edward. "We mustn't bruise any of the fruit going to the market." Thomas looked down at his buffers. "I'm sorry, Edward. It's this new relief man. I don't think he knows how to drive us engines properly yet." In a nearby siding, James began to laugh. He had been waiting to take the first passenger train of the morning and had seen everything. "You could help, you know," retorted Edward. Being a mixed traffic engine, he could have helped Thomas and Edward arrange the trains, but he didn't like to shunt unless directly told to by Sir Topham Hatt. Tender engines don't shunt, or rather proper ones don't. Not to mention, I've an important train to pull. I can't risk mucking about in these dirty sidings with dirty trucks. Thomas bumped some more trucks. It just wasn't his day. Suddenly it happened. The relief man opened up Thomas's reverser, and he shunted back much too fast. At the end of the line were a pair of buffers. Thomas was going much too fast and smashed right through them. "Bust my buffers!" exclaimed Thomas. Edward frowned. "I think you have." "Better a smash than a squash," chuckled James. Thomas felt embarrassed. That's not fair," he groaned. "You know it's not always easy to work with a relief man." "Rubbish," retorted James. "I'm more than capable compensating for any sort of inexperience a relief man could have." "You be careful now, James. If you're not careful, you may not be so clever as you think." James, not wanting to listen to Edward, slunk away. It wasn't long before it was time for James to pull his train. He arrived at the platform with his coaches. "Get in quickly," he called. The porter banged the doors, the guard blew his whistle, and James didn't start. "What's the matter?" asked James, annoyed. Just then, his fireman stepped down from his cab, looking very ill indeed. "Call a relief man, quickly!" called the driver. James was worried at first, but soon grew impatient, waiting to start. Soon, a relief man did arrive, but much to James's dismay, it was the same one who had been driving Thomas earlier. Eager to get another go at driving an engine, the fireman climbed into the cab and began to meddle with the controls. Then it all happened at once. All of a sudden, James jerked forwards, the fireman fell off his footplate, the coupling between James's tender and the coaches snapped, and James began rolling down the line. James picked up speed until he was speeding past signal boxes and station houses. He knew something was wrong. "I've got no crew! I've got no crew!" he cried. Down the line he thundered. He was going so fast he went straight over Gordon's Hill. "I've got to stop! I've got to stop!" he cried. Disaster lay ahead. A shunter diverted the line to allow James to run into a siding. Unfortunately, the siding was full of vegetable vans waiting to go to market. James hit the vans head-on, splintering them to bits. Mashed potatoes and curled carrots festooned his front. The station master calls for help, and it wasn't long before Edward arrived with the breakdown train. Well, 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 smiled Edward. "What was it that you told Thomas? Better a smash than a squash?" A very sad James wished he had said nothing at all.